So I'm not gonna sit here and tell you guys that film gear is everything, but I'm also not gonna sit here and tell you guys that it's not important either. Today I'm gonna break down all the gear me and my team used while we were in production for this short film. So yeah, today we're gonna talk about some gear that's pretty pricey, I'm not gonna lie to you guys. But we're also gonna talk about some gear that is actually extremely affordable and makes a huge difference for any kind of filmmaker. Let's jump into it. This video is titled Film Gear That You Need, but to be honest with you guys, there's really no such thing as gear that you need to make a film. Truth is, I've seen incredible pieces of work shot entirely on iPhone and some cheap lights. So the one thing that I don't want you guys to do is watch this video and get super depressed or feel like you need to buy all of this gear in order to go out and make a film. You absolutely do not, and I don't want to deter you guys from just going out there and shooting, because that is the best thing that you possibly can do. But today I want to take a second and talk to you guys about all the different gear my team and I have used to really elevate the production value of this short film that we've been working on, which has been an extremely ambitious project that I really couldn't have done without, not only my team, but the awesome gear that we have used, that some has been provided by sponsors, but also a lot of the stuff that I went out and I bought and I've just tried myself. So this list is filled with all kinds of gear. There's not any one category that we're going to focus on. I'm really just going to go off the cuff and just talk about all of my favorite gear that have really made a difference during the making of this film. First thing that I want to talk about is gear that I know nobody really wants to spend money on, and something that's not very exciting, and that is batteries. Truth is, batteries suck to buy, but they're something that every single one of us needs. When I go and I try to find cheap, affordable batteries, I always end up getting batteries that end up breaking or stop taking a charge after 6 or 7 months. So I recently just made the switch to all of my batteries being Smallrig batteries, and I went out and got this entire Smallrig line specifically because not only are they new and improved from everything that I had, but I knew they would last long, and I knew they would be a good long-term investment. Now, starting off, the NPF 970 batteries have become the only NPF batteries that I will own from here on out. I'm done using any other battery. Number one, you got power right there, and number two, I literally shot with this all day long and it lasted all day. Now, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, these are not the cheapest batteries to buy. However, I know that they're made with good quality, and I've been using them for months now, and they've been able to hold a charge. The NPF batteries also come with the ability to plug in a USB-C port. Not only that, but they also have this really awesome LED screen on top of it that tells you exactly how much battery life you have left on this battery, which is extremely useful. Now, in terms of V-mount battery, which my people that are on a cinema camera know that you can't really run a cinema camera without having a V-mount battery. V-mount batteries are super important, and the ones that I went out and I got was the V-mount 99 and the 212. Now, just like the NPF batteries, the V-mount batteries come with an LED screen that indicates exactly how much battery life that you have left. But what's awesome about this battery is that I can literally throw this on my 12K Ursa and have my Ursa running an entire shoot day off of one battery charge. The 212 comes with 2 USB-C ports, a USB port, a 12 volt, and an 8 volt. And at this moment in my filmmaking career, I pretty much only rock Smallrig batteries just because I have that peace of mind, again, that I'm gonna purchase them and it's a long-term investment. Now, for a quick second, I wanna have a little bit of fun and talk to you guys about something that's extremely important when establishing the look of your film. And what I'm talking about is lenses. On our film, we used a pretty wide variety of different lenses, everything from anamorphic to spherical and even macro lenses. But the most important aspect of lens choice is choosing a lens that allows you to enhance your storytelling. And what I mean by that is that every lens that you decide to use for a scene should have a purpose. For example, in this kitchen scene, we decided to use anamorphic lenses. And we decided to use these specifically because it was supposed to have this dreamlike quality to it. And because anamorphic lenses typically have a lot of lens flaring and slight barrel distortion, it gives you this sort of otherworldly quality, which is exactly what we felt like was necessary for this scene. And because we were going for this very stylized, specific look, I wanted to use the Atlas Mercury anamorphics. Now, I will say that these lenses have a very distinctive look to them, but I am blown away by the quality and just the overall aesthetic that these lenses give. If you guys take a look at this footage right here, you could just see the beauty of what you're able to capture on these lenses. The very unique lens flaring, it gives this almost amber colored lens flaring and helped us capture that warm, nostalgic kind of feel that we were going for in this kitchen scene. Now, for most of the film, we shot it on Sigma Art lenses. And the reason why we did this is because the Sigma Art, especially the 50mm, is one of the sharpest lenses that I own. And for a lot of these scenes, I wanted to have a real sharp and clean look to it. That way, when we did decide to shoot anamorphic, it was able to be separated from everything else that we shot, and it had a very distinctive look to each scene. But when it came to getting really crisp detail shots, especially on the close-ups, we went with the Sur-Ray Jupiter macro set. And macro lenses are extremely important because they have this sort of magnification to the lens that makes whatever detail shots you're shooting appear larger, so you can get in really tight and capture those close, crisp detail shots. So I don't think that you need all of these different lenses to be able to tell a story. However, when you are thinking about a scene and when you are thinking about a shot, being able to have these different lenses are like the equivalent to using different paintbrushes when you're painting a picture. Each lens gives you a slightly different look and allows you to elevate whatever feeling that you're trying to give. Now, one very important aspect of filmmaking that I think a lot of you guys are already aware of is lighting. And while I think a lot of different filmmakers could get away with using cheap lights to accomplish really good looking scenes, there are certain companies that I just gravitate towards just because I have peace of mind knowing that they make high quality products. And the two companies that I'm really talking about when it comes to lighting are Aperture and Amaran, and more specifically, the Aperture 600C Mark II and the Amaran 300C. The 600C Mark II really was our go-to main workhorse light on this film, is the fact that it's a full RGB light that is extremely powerful with 600 watts of power. Now, 600 watts for me can almost handle any lighting situation that I'm in. But the other thing that's extremely beneficial to having a light like this is the ability to hook it up to Sidus Link, which you can completely control on your phone. For this kitchen scene, we threw it up into a window, and me and the DP could stand inside and kind of manipulate the light, moving up and down the intensity and the Kelvin just from the phone, and having a peace of mind that it's weatherproof with an IP54 rating, knowing that if a little bit of rain or if it gets really hot outside, that this light can handle those weather conditions. Now, coming in at a price tag of $2,500, I can understand that this might be a pretty steep investment, especially for some of you guys who are just getting started into the world of cinematography and building your lighting kits. I'm totally aware of that. That's why I would also recommend the Amaran 300C. Now, the Amaran 300C isn't as powerful as the 600C. I think that the 600C is made with superior materials. However, the 300C from Amaran can do almost everything that the 600C can do. This light is an RGB light that you have complete control over using Sidus Link. It's a lightweight lamp that you could quickly throw up and use as an overhead or put in really tight cramped situations because it's so small and lightweight. And while, yes, it's definitely not as bright as the 600C, in my opinion, it was bright enough to handle a lot of different lighting situations. Now, I wouldn't expect this light to battle something like the sun because a 300C is definitely not even as powerful as like a 300D, but I will say that if you are indoors and you're lighting an interview, this is an amazing first light to buy. Now, the other thing that I have to mention that we used a ton of on this film was the Amaran tube lights. We use these things like crazy all over our production, and again, because you have a full RGB light that has the ability to be hooked up to Sidus Link and are extremely easy to rig up and they're lightweight, makes it one of my favorite lighting solutions that we use on set. And they're actually extremely affordable for all the features that you get out of these tubes. And if you guys want to buy anything from Aperture, I'll leave a 10% discount code down below for you guys. Now, one extremely important factor to getting really great shots is being able to get a full view of your scene. I recently built out a director's monitor using the Hollyland Pyro series, and if you guys want to see a full breakdown of all the gear that I used to build out this director's monitor, including the entire Pyro 7 series, I'll leave a link right up here. You guys can check that out. I think that it's extremely important to have eyes on a scene and not have to crowd around a cameraman or your cinematographer and be able to stand in the other room while you're able to take this thing and look at it and pay attention closely to the frame and make adjustments on the fly is extremely important. Now, with that being said, my DP Sherman went ahead and brought out his 21-inch small HD monitor, and let me tell you guys something, this thing really elevated our production. When you're able to blow up on a 21-inch monitor, your frame, not only are you getting a full view of the frame and you're able to meticulously look at it and make the little changes in the details and look at every little aspect of that frame and really hone in on what it is that you want. That's one benefit. But the other benefit is being able to communicate with your entire crew, look at the monitor and say, hey, you know, I want this to be changed and check out this and look at this. Or your DP can say, hey, do you want to slightly change the camera angle? And you guys can look at this monitor collaboratively and make adjustments on the fly. That's extremely valuable and something that I definitely consider you guys thinking about. And you know, I know that this small HD monitor is super expensive and it comes packed with a ton of really great features. There is a monitor that I recently just got because I can't afford the small HD monitor. That just is the truth. There's a monitor that I just got. There's a 21-inch monitor made by Fieldworld. It's a C-Tech monitor. And I think that while, yeah, it's not as great as a small HD monitor, it still serves the same purpose of being able to have a big view of a monitor and a screen and show the rest of your team. Or if you want to show a client, or you just want a full view look of what that frame looks like, I think that's very valuable and very important. All right, now let's get into some of the stuff that I know a lot of you guys, again, don't want to buy, a lot like the batteries, but something that is extremely important and we all need. What doesn't matter what kind of filmmaker you are, everybody is going to need C-stands, grip equipment, and even more importantly, good quality sandbags. When it comes to C-stands, a lot like batteries, I have tried over and over again to buy cheap C-stands and hopefully make them work. And while in here, like in my YouTube setup, I have a bunch of cheap C-stands holding these lights up. And they work because I set them and I forget it and I don't move them around. So these C-stands could work. And if you're in a situation where you're gonna throw up lights on a C-stand and you're not gonna move them, and you know that there's not gonna be a lot of crew members moving in and out your space, I think it's fine. I think you could afford to go out and buy some cheap C-stands. However, if you are on a film set, I strongly suggest that you go out and you get yourself some quality C-stands for many reasons. Number one, first and foremost, safety. I have been working with actors and have had actors on set where some of my cheaper C-stands have kind of started bowing and falling and tilting over and have almost knocked out actors. And that is a huge problem. Like, you do not want to deal with this. Trust me when I tell you guys, you do not want to deal with it. One C-stand company that I can stand behind that I know is good is Matthews C-stands. Every time that I purchase Matthews C-stands, I'm always happy with them. I always think that they're awesome. I forgot the company, but I'm going to link it down below to this other C-stand that I bought that is very, very high quality, very, very good, that I recommend. I can't vouch for any other C-stand company. Honestly, I've tried a bunch of them. Can't vouch for them. Now, another important factor to rigging up lights and having good quality C-stands is having good quality sandbags. I did it again. I went out and I bought cheap sandbags. What happens is that the zipper breaks, sand starts pouring out of these things. You have sand all over a production set. People are looking at you like, dude, what is going on? What is with this cheap gear? In my opinion, the 15 and the 20 pound Matthews C-stand bags I have found have worked time and time again. Not only are they heavyweight and the material lasts, but you know that you're going to throw it on a C-stand and you're covered. You don't have to worry about it. Now, the other thing that I found was really awesome were these clamps that I got from Newer. And they were pretty awesome because they allowed me to clamp lights in weird places. If you guys know me and you guys been following me for a while, you know I'm a huge fan of top lighting. And what's awesome about these clamps is that you could clamp them on to different things or just rig them up in different ways so you could get top lighting. I went out and I bought 2 of them. It allowed us to clamp onto a V-flat and bring it up overhead and, you know, shoot and bounce light off of, which was extremely helpful. And speaking of another helpful piece of gear, V-flats are extremely usable and helpful. These V-flats we used time and time again, and for those of you who don't know what a V-flat is, pretty much on one side you have black material, on the other side you have white material, and you could either bounce or use as a negative fill or even use as a flag to flag light in different situations. And me and my team have used these countless amounts of times to help light certain scenarios. Another thing that I think was very valuable and super affordable were these clamps from Home Depot. I went and I bought a bunch of different size clamps from Home Depot, and I think that a lot of filmmakers should have clamps in their kit. And then a sneaky little one is getting yourself a ton of black fabric. Black fabric is extremely important to have because there's so many different uses for it. Not only, in this one scene, we used it to black out an entire background to creatively execute this vision that we had, but another awesome use for it is to skirt lights. You could really have a long skirted light and have something that is really, really focused. And then the other thing is you could use it as negative fill or throw it on the ground to kill some of the light around an area and help you really shape and control your lighting. And the last thing that I want to talk about is getting yourself some sort of grid cloth. Now, I had this 6x6 grid cloth and it's extremely helpful in so many ways. Number one, if you are shooting light through it and you actually extend a 6x grid cloth, what you're doing is creating essentially a huge light source, and the bigger the light source, the more natural the lighting is going to look. And that's one way of using it. In this kitchen scene, there was a scene that we needed to bounce light off of the kitchen table, and what my DP did was he just threw this grid cloth on the kitchen table and bounced some light through it, and just having that grid cloth there gave this really soft luminance on me and the other character in the scene. And I was just like, wow, man, I didn't even think about doing something like that. But there are many different applications, just like having black cloth and putting it on the floor, killing some of the bounce back off the floor. You could add some of that bounce back just by putting it on the floor or different objects in a room. And it just helps you, again, shape light. Now, I know that we spoke about a bunch of different gear, guys. Some of this stuff on this list was super pricey, while some of it was a little bit more affordable. The last thing that I want you guys to know is that if you are someone that's just getting started, don't feel like you need to go out and buy all of this gear right away. Don't put yourself in debt. Don't put yourself in uncomfortable, bad situations because you feel like you need this gear to go out and shoot certain things. You really don't. The last thing that I want you guys to feel like is inferior because you don't have all of this stuff. It really doesn't matter. Like I said, guys, all of the gear that we talked about today is listed down below. If you buy from those links, you'll be helping supporting the channel and supporting our short film projects. I want to thank you guys so much for stopping and hanging out. My name is Zarfati, and I'll see you guys next week.